I wrote the horn trio while I was in residence at Aaron Copeland's house, which is now a residency location for emerging composers. They are selected to spend several weeks basically working in this beautiful setting in the Hudson River Valley, where Copeland created many of his most iconic compositions. So it's a very inspiring, semi-isolated place, and it just allows for an incredible amount of focus on creativity and compositional projects. The horn, violin, piano combination is a bit unusual. I grew up playing horn, and the Brahms trio and the Ligeti trios, which are written for the same combination, and the Harbison Twilight music, which is on this program as well, are staples of that repertoire, although there are very few pieces in the repertoire for that combination. So it's interesting to have a wind brass instrument and a string instrument and then piano. The piece was written just because I wanted to write a horn trio. Usually I write things because they're commissioned or for an event or something like this, but this was something that I'd known about the combo for a long time as a horn player. It was just a labor of love. The piece is in 3 movements. It's sort of front heavy. So the first movement is the most substantial, longest, and contains the most contrast. The second movement is an entirely slow movement, and the third movement is entirely fast, sort of perpetual motion. It starts out with the piano playing sort of this motto theme that I analyze and investigate for the harmonic and melodic material for all 3 movements. So it's this very short 5-note figure that you'll hear in the piano alone at the beginning. So that's sort of the springboard for all of the action in the piece. There are a couple of cool things I asked the instruments to do. There's this glissando kind of buzzing effect you'll hear in the horn where they can bend pitches. I have the violinist, play with the wood of their bow while they're glissandoing and playing a kind of ricochet bouncing stroke that happens in the second movement. The pianist is literally asked to hammer the keys in sort of alternating strokes with 2 fingers on each hand, again trying to create sort of a percussive instrument out of the piano. It's kind of a gritty piece for me. It's a little more dissonant, a little more rhythmically unpredictable than some things I've been writing recently, so I think it forms a nice contrast within my own output as a composer. And I tried some different ways of handling material than I do in other pieces. So that was kind of part of the fruits of being able to sit in Copeland's studio for hours at a time and really think about these things in a little more depth than sometimes I might be able to when I'm in Houston teaching and running errands and having a social life. It's been really interesting following this piece's life over the past 4 years. So it's usually I'm writing right up until the deadline and right up until the premiere. So this lay kind of on the side for a couple of years, and I revisited it until this premiere opportunity came up. So it's one of the most interesting things for me as a composer with this piece and this premiere is that I'm sort of revisiting an old friend or something like that, or something I did in the past. So it's really exciting for me to see how my musical language has changed over the past 3 to 4 years, and what I've kept from this piece and what I've kind of left behind. So that's one of my favorite parts about hearing this piece performed for the first time.